Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're here with the beautiful Lisa McCoy to talk about energy drawings. We are kind of twins that we found each other a while ago, and we have been sharing our modalities with each other, and it's crazy. We must be sisters from a past life. So,
somewhere.
And tell us a little bit about how you got started and all that yummy stuff about you.
Like many people, sort of kind of like accident, but nothing's an accident in life. There's nothing that's a coincidence. I had used my abilities like many of us when we were little. And of course, my parents, like many other parents, kind of poo-pooed that. Lisa, that's not there. I can't see it, so you must just be pretending.
Oh, exactly.
But it was real, and when I was led to some books, again, not by accident, to be able to awaken my knowledge to what I already knew about balancing my chakras. And as soon as I got all of my chakras balanced, and I did that on my own, and then my abilities just opened right back up. I always knew things over like the 20 or so years that I was asleep, and I never, I always wondered, if you wonder if you're psychic, it's probably true that you are. Because you know things, and it's like you know things, you don't know how you know things, but when all of those abilities open back up, that was one of my first questions to my guides. Okay, was I just pretending when I was little, or was I really seeing all that stuff? And they said, no, you were really seeing all that stuff. That was how we appeared to you when you were little. So it was in the form of a collie dog, Lassie dog. I'm telling you all how old I am by telling you that was my playmate, was Lassie dog. So that's how a guide...
Me both, sister.
Yeah. That's how a guide is going to appear to you as a child with something that you can accept.
Right.
So that was their way to get me, kind of check on me is how they would say it. Check on me and still be able to talk to me is through the Lassie dog, because I would have accepted this Lassie dog.
Wow.
Not a dude in a suit.
So what age were you at this point?
The furthest back that I can remember is 3 things that happened to me when I was 3, and this happens to all of us also. We start kindergarten and first grade, and they try to cram us indigo and crystalline children into these square containers where we're completely round, and it just doesn't work. And they just slowly, from the time I was probably 6 or 7, they slowly just kind of faded away. Because then you have to go to school, you have to learn stuff. It kind of clicks off your creative ability a little bit.
Right.
Even though I was a daydreamer all the way through school, because you have to go and sit and pay attention, that just kind of clicks your creative ability off.
Right. So fast forward, you've gotten to the place where your clairvoyance is predominant in your life, and you decide that you're going to start drawing people's energy. How do you map that out? How do you connect to today and what you do?
Wow. Oh my goodness. The first thing I did with my guides is I spent thousands of hours doing healing work with them, and it was like actually schoolwork, because I would sit for hours and they would teach me things and teach me practices, and we would go through meditation practices. We would go through forgiveness practices. I had to do that one a lot. Still doing that.
That's funny.
Yeah, yes, but no, you know. So the energy drawings kind of happened by accident as well. That's just kind of where everything led up to, because I was fascinated by the chakra system and how it worked and what it held in each one of these chakras, what the information that it meant, emotionally and also energetically. And then I started seeing energy around myself and around other people. Is when it first started, you know, I was realizing that I could see things. As the development got deeper, my sight got deeper. So it went from just seeing like one big blob here of one color to very intricate things such as butterflies that float, or attachments and chains and cords and things like that. So it just keeps getting deeper and more detailed.
Huh. Wow. And so then you decided to put it down on paper. Why? Because it was easier to take all those notes. And
I actually started. Can I show them the picture that I do? Okay. This is what my readings look like here. This is what my readings look like.
There's a whole bunch of detail in it. You write all the notes.
Yeah, bear with me. I'm so sorry. My daughter knew I was recording today. She knew I was recording. And my daughter's also clairvoyant, and she sees the same thing that I do. She's been clairvoyant since she was born that way, but when I figured out that she had her ability, started like when she was 12.
Wow. So you charged that. Good mom.
So this is what the drawing looks like. So this is the first thing that I do, is that I will go through and I immediately start seeing all of these, what each one of the chakras look like. Then where you use your color, are they
right.
pencil?
My energy
or like pastel. Are they pencil? I never did ask you. Is it like pencil drawings? Like colored pencil?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know if it was, you know how they have those pastel chalk things. I didn't know if it was like a pastel chalk or just pencils. So how I do this, I just use markers here.
Right.
But this is, you know, the first thing that I do, and then I go in even deeper, and I will go into each one of these chakras and go into what each one of the chakras is holding. So I do like a report that I share with my clients on each one of those chakras and what that holds, which are most of the time blocks, cords, sometimes they're valves, attachments, that type of thing.
And you can tell an incredible amount of information, as I know, by these chakras. And you can tell date or sort of age times where certain things happen. You can tell, you know, what kind of advice you would give to somebody and add healing to certain areas of the body. What is
correct?
What are some of the most common things that you find in certain chakras of today's society, of your clients?
It's very common for people that have open third eyes to have them covered. And I think that you picked that up too.
Definitely.
That they're open, that they're covered by extreme fear, fear of what they may see. Some people are afraid if they see something that makes them responsible for telling what they're seeing, and that makes them a little anxious because they're afraid of how to handle it. It's actually what I've had clients tell me, well, what am I going to tell somebody if I have this information? It's like, you and I don't know what we're going to tell them either. It just comes out. Your guides give you the words. Sometimes I'll say words that I'm like, I don't even say that type of thing.
Exactly.
I don't use that phrase, so I know that's not me talking.
I think that's part of the whole becoming intuitive and opening up your skills is a lot of trust, right? Because you have to sort of relinquish your own ego of your own ideas of what you think that person might need or want, and all of a sudden given almost downloaded, just like I'm sure the famous singers or writers have downloaded information and then been a little bizarre. I know I've done paintings that way, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. But so allowing for that information to come through, and you just trust the process because you've gone through it so many times, and then the validation comes back from the client, and you're like, oh, well, that worked out.
Yeah, and I think that's huge because the more you trust it, because I was a little anxious when it first started, and I've been doing this, you and I have been doing it for a long time, so we've learned to trust it. But the thing is, the more you trust your knowing and your hearing and your seeing, the more you get.
Right.
So it's like this, one builds on another, builds on another, builds on another. So that's very common with the third eye. The throat chakra is very common to be damaged. Can I show them the picture of what a healthy one looks like? Okay, cool. Okay, so this is what a healthy adult chakra looks like here. There is one here that is a child's chakra. I don't read children because they're not developed. The only time that I will work with a child is when they're like a crystalline child or an indigo child and their abilities are already open. That's
so how could you tell?
Because their parents are clients of mine.
No, if you tap into a child, you're just, you're a crystalline child. What are the signs? How would you identify one over? It's one of those knowing things, and I hear it, they're already awake, or their child has abilities. Isn't there anything different? Like you mentioned on my drawing in terms of the what did you say? It was like glistening, and do you find that an indigo child or a crystalline child, they have more glistening in their
sparkly, right? Sparkles, like glitter. Yeah. It looks like glisten, like snow that glistens. It will look like that.
Yes.
There's sometimes
magical, like you went to Disneyland.
Yes. Yes.
Like, what is the fairy and she sprinkles the dust.
Yes. Yes. Our job is so fun. Don't you just dig it that we get to name all these little cool, we can name it anything we want. Because it didn't come with the manual.
Exactly.
Okay, so then this is what damaged ones look like. The ones that I see the most are these ones that have like a ball around them. I see these that are underdeveloped here. the ones, and this is why I wanted to show you this, because I see these ones that are kind of blown apart here.
Oh, yes.
It's kind of blown apart.
Oh, wild.
So the chakras turn clockwise, and these ones that are blown apart, and this is very common in the throat chakra, and it just looks like this. And it doesn't turn, it just kind of wobbles.
Mm.
So when in those throat chakra, and you see these as well, it's because we have been conditioned, sometimes before we're even born, we're conceived that way, conditioned not to speak.
Right.
In the environment that we're raised in, I will have people that I will do readings on that they have been a very outgoing child and continually wanting to be heard, but their throat chakra is still damaged because no one would listen to them. Mm. So you have that, and then you also have where you're conditioned not to speak at all.
Right.
So what I find with my clients, it seems to be about middle age, especially for women, that they find their voice.
Yeah, and that can mean so many different things. It's not just, their speaking voice, but their authenticity, right? It's just their ability to be able to be in the world and fit into their own skin. I think that, the voice chakra definitely exudes that connectivity between your ability to communicate and then communicate to yourself and then and love yourself in just a very authentic way of presenting who you are to them.
Right. Let me show you something here. Let me find one real quick. So this one in particular, right. So right here is, she's radiating. So it looks like her sun right here. This is how I draw just partially damaged because she's in the process of finding her voice. But it will radiate that somebody will, when I see it, when it radiates, they're saying very loving things to other people. However, when I'm looking in the energy field like right here, that tells me what that person is saying to themselves. So
that's how I do it too. Like I'll recognize it on one side, and then the inside and the different colors represent how they're communicating with each other.
So we're doing the same thing. We're just doing it different. We're doing the same thing.
And we found each other.
I know. This is so fun. So the cool thing about it, is that the loving things that I say to people and the loving things that you say to people are two different loving things. Right? So here's the thing. When any one of us are saying loving things to other people, it's exactly what we need to hear ourselves. Because our words we choose, our loving words we choose, are different each time.
Yes.
So that's what I find so fascinating. I'm fascinated by all of this. It's something new every day, and every time, and I know that you would agree with this, every time that you think that you have seen everything, there's something new. Like all the time, it's like, oh, isn't that cool? Wow, that's something even deeper than what I knew yesterday.
Exactly. It's
all of it. It's so fascinating. The other two things, and these are very common also, and I think you would agree with this in your work also, is that the root chakra generally is underdeveloped, and also the sacral chakra is either underdeveloped. What I see more so than underdeveloped in the sacral chakra is it's more damaged. That chakra holds everything that happened in our life from the time we were 5, 6 up until we were like 11 and 12. So that age time is some pretty radical learning going on in there. You know, our logical mind is kicking in. We still, as a child, don't understand a lot of things. So, but the only thing that a child like 6, 7, and 8 understand is not the logical explanation because mama needs to go to work. They understand, though, at 6 years old, the emotion and the vibration of the emotion of abandonment of being left at the babysitter.
Right.
Right. So basically, what we're all doing is trying to get over our raising. We're trying. That's really what it all boils down to. We are trying to heal from how we were raised.
Right. Those belief systems that were embedded in our system and our programming. Yes. We're looking for an upgrade. How do you encourage people to find the upgrade of life? What are some of the tips that you give people?
Oh wow! For the healing, is that what you're referring to? The biggest thing would be forgiveness.
Yeah.
That's and non-judgment, and all of that goes together. The whole, in a real quick overview of what the purpose of life is to be given something to heal from. We all, as humans, think that when these assholes show up in our life, they're doing stuff to us.
Right.
Because it hurts us. So it's happening to us. So with to being the focus word, what's really happening on a spiritual level is that these assholes have showed up in our life and are doing, these things are happening in our life for us. So rather than it happening to us, it's happening for us, because when we figure out it's happened for us is when we begin to be a seeker of knowledge, a seeker of answers, and that's really when our awakening starts. That's when clients show up for us because they're seeking answers. You know, why is this stuff happening to me, you know? Well, it was all contracted, first of all, but it's done for us, so we have something to forgive. And then once we go through the forgiveness process, which can take sometimes years to work through, once you think you've got everything forgiven, there'll be something else pop up, and it's like, oh man, I thought we were over this.
So what you're saying is that it's sort of like a little game, and what we're trying to do then is really understand the contrast of black and white, or dark and light, and that there are that through that contrast we get to experience ourselves.
Yeah, but see, it's the game that we didn't get instructions to.
Right. There's no manual. There's the manual. I'm asking for the manual. It's like you're blindfolded.
And nobody told us it was a game either.
Right. You have to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
But through the experience of it, we really get to, really understand the ultimate, which is love, right? And when we get to the dark.
That's where I was. Yes, that's where I was heading. So you're given something to forgive. And some of us don't get the first lesson or the second lesson. And you didn't. It took me a few times. I'm a little hard-headed. So by the time, I'm getting here to the third lesson, this keeps repeating, that I need to go back and forgive the third and the second and the first one. Then through all of that process of forgiveness, your humanness becomes non-judgmental. And the non-judgmental piece is the most amazing feeling that I want for everyone. Because it's such freedom to understand the process of everything that's happening and to get to the point of non-judgment. And the Dalai Lama says that non-judgment is what unconditional love is.
That's beautiful. I love that. It really is.
So the deal is, once we as a human learn that lesson, then our job is to teach other people how to do the same thing.
Absolutely. I when you experience yourself as love, you experience the bliss, and you can experience both up and down simultaneously, and enjoy both perspectives, right?
Yeah.
I have to point out the noise in your background is the most spooky, weird noise. And
I'm sorry. Did I explain to you what that is?
You mentioned last time, but do just for the recording, definitely explain.
Oh, so everybody else knows that. Can you hear me clearly though? I
can't hear you for sure, but there's definitely like
and I never hear that. I didn't know that for the longest time until I had a client say, "Lisa, what is that?" And it is spirit. And then I was talking to another healer, and she says, "Well, Lisa, it's spirit." She says, "Spirits are like just whooshing, 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 whooshing around you, like all the time, trying to get your attention. And there will be some times that you will even hear, like some people say they hear some words in that whooshing. And I haven't noticed that when I haven't been paying attention today, but many times when I'm doing these lives, the screen will flash too. They're just trying to get my attention, and I've asked them, I'm trying to help.
Busy? Can we just...
yes, can you put that on hold? I know you're there. And they still try to come through.
Well, what is some of the other chakras that you find? You go into the chakra versus the auric field or the soul level, like I do. And
right.
Chakras. Now, have you heard of the chakras melding into 3 versus 6? And what's your feedback and experience on that? The I am, the knowing, or the feeling of the I am knowing, that there's supposed to be a merging of the chakras. Have you heard of that?
I think I know what you're referring to, and I understand that. It's just kind of like up-leveling and using all of your chakras in unison at one time.
Got it. Right.
And so that is when our humanness is... That wasn't the spirit. That was a car.
That's hysterical.
It's when our humanness comes into alignment to our purpose.
Oh, I see. That's beautiful. Got it.
Yeah. So that's why, we want to work on each one of those areas of our life. For instance, the root chakra holds everything from conception of the cell, and sometimes some past life stuff comes in there. So that's why I tell clients, some of the crap you're having to heal from is not even your crap. So the root chakra holds everything from conception up until 5-6 years old. So when you or I can see things that aren't quite settled there. That's why we want to focus just on that age time. You know, what happened then? And as an adult with a logical mind, we're going to think, well, mom and dad had to go to work. Of course they had to go to work. But at 3 years old, the 3-year-old didn't know that, right? The 3-year-old is standing there bawling her eyes out, finally taking a nap by the door at the babysitter's home, devastated that they're never coming back.
Right. Right.
So that's so traumatic for a 3-year-old that there's sometimes even soul fragments that will break off because that to them is that traumatic. But when we're looking at it midlife as an adult with a logical mind, we think that's silly, but that still needs to be that. We still need to go back and heal that in order to bring the root chakra into alignment with everything else that we've done work on here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, got it. So that's pretty much why there's so much stuff that comes up when you start up leveling or reaching for your purpose to really fulfill your soul's purpose. There's all the stuff, emotional, mental, physical, even ailments come up to the surface to be healed, and then right?
Yeah.
Get into alignment with that oneness of being.
Correct. Absolutely. That's what's going on. And it may not be like at 3 years old. It may be at 9 years old something happened. And even again, some majorly traumatic things that happen, especially with girls when they go through puberty and their periods are starting. Sometimes that event is hugely traumatic.
Right.
Especially if we had a mother that didn't tell us what was going on.
Right.
Or that we should expect it. And that we weren't dying. There are so many of my clients, oh my gosh, there's so many of my clients that started their periods and they thought they were dying. No one told them. And it breaks my heart because they lived in that fear like, okay, it quit, so I must be okay. And then in a few weeks later, they're bleeding again. So they're like, panic. It's very common.
Oh,
it's
wow.
very common that these young girls are thinking that there's something really, really bad wrong with them. And also, lots of times when girls go through puberty, their psychic abilities are switched on like overload.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, because it has to do with your hormone balance. Mm-hmm. On the flip side of that, there's some women that go through menopause and it does the same thing because it's actually puberty backwards. But you're going through menopause. So it's the same thing as a hormonal balance stuff and, losing and gaining and, all this weirdness that's going on with the hormones in your physical body, that the psychic abilities are then, were maybe dormant, are switched on. Sometimes they go on overload. So a lot of girls during that time frame, their moms, because they don't know any better, and these girls are having like panic attacks and anxiety attacks, when it's not a panic attack, it's your solar plexus working overload.
Wow.
They're putting them on antidepressants when that's not what's wrong with them.
It is. Wow.
Yeah.
So as far as what you do now, right? You meet with your clients, and so you spend how long to draw the drawing or get the information, and then you meet with your clients? What is the process?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So the drawing, like this drawing, actually the drawing doesn't take like a long time because I see it so quickly I can draw it out really quickly. So this maybe takes half an hour. But when I start like digging in to each one of those chakra centers. It's like opening up sometimes a can of worms because it just like pours, information just pours out of those chakras. So I do each one of those separately. Sometimes it takes as long as 3 hours to get all that information. Sometimes less. Then I will do appointments, sessions that are, it depends how open and awake the client is.
Right.
So if they understand soul contracts, if they understand chakras and how that works and the law of attraction, if they understand all of that and I don't have to teach them what it is, we can move through it pretty quickly. But even at that, it will take at least 2-hour sessions to explain everything.
Wow.
Sometimes it takes 3
Right.
to explain it. Because I feel like I'm teaching spiritual practices and spiritual laws as I'm doing the reading.
Yeah. I found that for sure. Absolutely.
Yes.
Although I do this for a living and I'm clairvoyant and I tell people information about themselves, it is super fascinating to be seen so and so in depth as you are so capable of. I mean, you're just an amazing clairvoyant for sure, and the way you are able to communicate some pretty powerful insights about a person and give them information about time frames, and when it resonates, it's pretty powerful and very transformational. So you know that anybody who's lucky enough to work with you definitely gets transformed through the process for sure. So.
I'm honored. I'm really honored. I'm honored by people's trust. And to kind of piggyback that on trusting, because I know that this is like a teaching video for some of your people that you're working with. The thing is, I have to trust that video that I just saw of the client, where I have to trust that snapshot because it doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't mean a thing. But it means everything to the person that we're working with, and that knowledge is power, which can move them to forgiveness, which is another piece, another little piece of the puzzle of forgiveness that up-levels them to another piece of non-judgment in the healing process.
Right. Gets them to a more loving state. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yes. Which is why we're all here.
We are having this blessed journey of life, of human.
Yeah. So when we get to unconditional love, we can dance with it instead of fussing with it.
That's so true.
And we all get things that happen in our life. And this just come up for me yesterday that I was from an outer influence out here. They were wanting to draw me back into their drama. And it's like, for a split second, I went there. And it's like, oh, that was the old Lisa. That was the old Lisa. Let's see what the new Lisa has to observe about that. So I stood back and observed it again. It's like, not going there. I'm just, because the getting stuck back in that drama, I mean, it's an endless cycle of crazy train chaos that you get sucked into that vibration of that emotion, it doesn't serve anything. It doesn't serve the situation. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve anybody. So, for a split second, I wanted to be angry about it because it's like, what the?
Well, and isn't it that if you engage, then you're participating in making the energy of it even bigger versus diminishing it, which we think that if we engage, then we can make it better, we can make it smaller. Right. But actually, do not engage. It's one of my dad's favorite things. Is like, just let it go, because otherwise you're actually witnessing the experience and then therefore contributing to it, versus step away from it and then hold that space of love where others can then see you on the outskirts and go, this is pretty peaceful, let me go over there. And then all of a sudden it can dissolve. Right?
Yes. If they observe it that way, there's many.
Yeah, obviously we all love a little addiction here and there. So we all have the trauma, so we can go back and forth. And it's really about, when you come to the realization that is an endless game. It just never stop, and it would just go round and round and round and round. You realize the only way to get out of that whirlwind, out of the tornado, is either stand in the middle of it in a very peaceful manner or walk away, right?
Yeah. Yes, and you can do that. My guides have shown me standing in the middle of this huge vortex and like garbage swirling around me is how they showed me what was going on. And I'm just standing there like looking around at it, and the inside of this tornado is black, gooky, dirty. You can see like dust flying around, and then they said, okay, this is where you're standing, and all of this chaos changes. So by visualizing, sending it love, slowly at the bottom of this tornado or this vortex, you can watch it turn pink, and like pink and pink and pink until you can watch all of the dirty, like nasty yuck go out the top of the vortex.
So you're actually transforming.
Moving. Yes. Yes.
Love it. So what would you say somebody who's starting out doing healing work and obviously utilizing their clairvoyance, what would you give? How would you give them advice? Any advice that you would share?
We cannot teach what we have not learned.
Perfect.
And we cannot teach what we have not experienced. So the crap that we are experiencing in our life, because some people experience more crap than others.
Right.
So what is happening is the ones that are experiencing like big crap have been called to a higher calling. Their purpose is higher. So for instance, I've got a client that has had to deal, actually now that I'm thinking about it, I've got quite a few clients that have had to deal with the death of their child. Which is hugely heartbreaking. And now they're figuring out, as they're moving through the healing process, what their purpose is. Because their purpose for experiencing that has been to be called to a higher calling, to heal from that, and then to be able to teach other people how to heal from that as well.
Wow. Yes.
Which that's so amazing. That's so amazing. And, you know, when we refer to them up leveling, you know, every time we get a little bit of crap, it's like, okay, what do I need to learn from that to up level to the next plateau, and then to the next plateau? Because there seems to be like a challenge or a feeling or something that we need to let go of. You know, our humanness needs to let go of. And I think that you will wholeheartedly agree with that never stops. Like until our last breath. Would you agree with that?
Well, actually, one of my past guests was, she did soul regression work, so the life between lives regressing. Mm-hmm. And even when you're out of body, of the human body, you're still up leveling. You're still
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a soul's journey versus an experience. And I think that obviously there's a human aspect to it of the journey. Yes. And we get to experience, you know, the heaviness of having the body, all the contrasts of being human. But at the same time, I think definitely it's a soul thing. Absolutely. We you know, are so much more than just our bodies. You know?
Yeah. And I'm fascinated by all of it. Just by all of it. How long can we chat yet? Because I would like to share something else.
Please do. Yes, we've got a little bit more time.
Perfect. Okay. So what had happened the first part of March is that my mother had a stroke, and she'd had 2 other strokes, but she was 86, and this stroke, she had a living will, so it was like a do not resuscitate order. So when she had this last stroke, they took her off of all of her meds and no food or water. So how we have been taught to deal with that is that, you know, the dying process is very sad, you know, it's the end of the life as we know it, so forth and so on, by religious standards. That's what we're taught.
Right.
And that, you know, Judgment Day and the whole 9 yards thing. So here's what I want to explain, since we're talking about chakras, is that I'd like to share with everybody what the dying process looks like in reference to the chakra system.
Oh, yes. That would be very interesting.
Yes, and the art field. So during this process, because when you do a reading and when I do a reading, we're reading everything here, right?
Right.
So she had a stroke. So what was happening is like this part was like dead versus this part still had some activity right here.
Wow.
Because of the stroke. And what I found so beautiful, it was such a beautiful process, is that even though the physical body was shutting down, slowly shutting down, and I was seeing like the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus all shut down. Her throat chakra was just the stroke took her speech, but you could still make out for a few days what she was trying to say. Her third eye was never like open, but this was closed, and her crown chakra closed.
Huh.
Here's the thing that I was so blessed to be able to experience and observe the sight of this. So everything here in the humanness was shutting down.
Right.
The human body, her chakra system was shutting down, except for her heart chakra.
Really?
Yes. So chakras are about the size of your hand, and they turn clockwise, right? And they are about, they kind of look like a sonar, you know, this is what this vortex of your chakras look like, and they stand out. Do you see them like maybe out about 10 or 12 inches out here?
Yeah, correct.
Roughly about. So, you know, all of those are closed down except for her heart chakra. Her heart chakra was huge, like like a huge big vortex coming out of her chest. It came out about anywhere from 3 foot to as far as 5 foot out away from the body. And then the circle of the chakra also came out about 3 foot as well. This whole heart chakra was still spinning clockwise, but it was pink. It sparkled. It had like sparkles like going like this off of it. All kinds of little dots in it, and you understand the color since you color code yours. So there were purple little like sparks that were like this, you know, and then there were silver ones and white ones and pink ones and indigo ones, and just, you know, silver glitter, like it was, you know, spinning. So what was happening is that even though she physically couldn't say I love you anymore, or in her last hours she got real peaceful and quiet, where for a few days she could still pull you over and give you a hug. You know, she would grab you and pull you over and give you a hug. But even though her physicalness and her humanness was shutting down, her soul was passing love. I just got goosebumps, which is a good thing. Goosebumps are good. If anybody wants to know, you know, what those mean, that means that whatever you're talking about, who you're around, what you're discussing, or the path that you're on when you get goosebumps, is always a confirmation that yes, you're on the right path. But I thought that was so amazing.
That's beautiful.
To be able to live.
To the fact that we are light beings and we communicate.
Yes.
We communicate with the language of color.
Yes.
So color then has information that tells us what we're trying to say on a light level, right?
Yeah.
And if you understand the healing power of color and you understand that language, then you communicate with each other, and that's how we do it. Right.
Yes. So it was so beautiful because, like, you know that the soul doesn't die, but the soul was still communicating. That's what was so beautiful about it, is that the soul was still passing love. This baggage here was shutting down, but the soul was still actively, I mean extremely actively, passing love.
Now, was your mother aware of your clairvoyant ability? And she was not? So lucky you to be able to see that and to understand what she was trying to say in her last moment.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What a gift.
Yeah. No, I was raised very Christian conservative. Extremely conservative. And like the fire and brimstone conservative.
Right. I think we did have that conversation about witches and all that other level. Or DNA.
Yeah. So that is, till the day she died, firm believer in that. So the fact that she never knew that now she does now know that, and she has, and I'm really curious to see how things will progress, because she has spoken to me with some things that it's like, wow, you know, because it's so not like what she raised us to be, which we all know that she wasn't supposed to, like, I mean, she did her job perfectly,
Right.
you know, exactly what it was supposed to be. But I spent the night with her because when she was in the hospital over the past 10 or 15 years, she would get kind of afraid as she got older to stay at the hospital. So it was like my sibling duty. I was the one that always stayed overnight with her. That was like my gig. You know, my other siblings did other things. We all, you know, worked the common goal, but that was like my gig that I did. So I stayed with her the last 2 nights before she passed, and I left. I think she was waiting for me to leave, quite frankly. I left at 6:30 in the morning, and I just was about 20 minutes away because I had been up all night. And the aides there, the nurses, assured me that at this nursing home that it was their policy that no one in this process was ever left alone, ever. That if there wasn't a family member there, that they had a nurse or someone sit with them. Right. So they did not pass by themselves, which I think is so beautiful for a facility to have those types of, it's written in their bylaws, that there's no person that's going to pass alone. So I left about 6:30, drove home, just had crawled in bed and just got relaxed, and I was doing my gratitude, you know, thank you for, you know, tonight, observing, you know, going through the gratitude. I had just settled down, and it's the most beautiful thing. You know how you see things in your third eye, kind of like a snapshot or a video that runs? This was so different because it was like my third eye was my whole head.
Wow.
And I started seeing these lights, zoom, 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 zoom. And I was so tired. Like, oh, this is cool. You know, like when you're like just half awake and I'm thinking, oh, this is cool. You know, we're up leveling again. What, you know, and I was so tired it didn't even dawn on me what was happening, that she was passing. Because it was like 40 minutes later after I had left that she passed. And then I realized, because as these lights were zooming by, you know, this tunnel that everyone talks about when they have near-death experiences, what I was seeing, it was so cool because it was like my third eye was like all around my head. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when we see here, it's kind of like a snapshot. You understand that. So this was like huge. So that took maybe at the most 2 minutes. It was very, very quick. But she came to me and asked me, she said, please forgive me. You kids, please forgive me. And she was gone. So she asked for forgiveness.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And then she was gone. So it had been, I think it was last week, which would have been about a month that she passed, that she had, you know, had said a few things to me, and I was thinking, this is weird. Because she's observing it from, you know, a whole different level now, obviously, than what it would have been here. So
absolutely.
My humanness was saying, oh, this is weird.
Yeah,
to have a drastic contrast.
A whole nother life for sure. Like talking to dead people. I you know, a friend just recently reached out to me and said, you know, that a family member had committed suicide, and I said, well, they're not available yet. You know, they're in training. Yeah. They're in shock therapy.
Yeah.
You know, there's a whole process. Yeah. Well, we'll have to do another one about that. But to wrap it up, is there any last things that you want to share with with those who are beginning this journey? Anything that you haven't?
I am honored by each of my clients that trust me to walk them through that. And I'm honored by the interview today. So I take and I know you do too, we take this very seriously to do these readings. And people are trusting us with their energy field. And I don't, and I know you don't either. We don't take it lightly.
No.
So I'm really honored by people's trust. No. And we've done this dance before. These people aren't showing up by accident.
Isn't that the truth? How do people find out about you and Pat's work with you?
I am in a lot of Facebook groups that I do posts on. I post on my Facebook business page. I do have a website, but it's down right now. I'm going to do some upgrades on it. And that's like always.
What's the name of your Facebook group that you have?
The Liberated Soul.
The Liberated Soul.
Yep.
I'm just going to add that to the comments. Okay, so then they can go search that on Facebook and find you and your magic.
Or they can even do my personal page. I'm sometimes a little, I don't always post everything on my personal page that I do on my group page, because like everybody's not there.
Right.
But if they can find me under Lisa McCoy on my just personal page, I can direct them over there.
Perfect.
To the other page. And we do all kinds of learning. We'll do challenges, teaching, we'll do lives, people ask questions, all that kind of cool stuff. It's a blast. We have so much fun.
Thank you so much for your time and your wonderful wisdom.
I love you so much.
All your love. Thank you for everyone who is watching, and we'll see you next time.
Love you.